Gregory lifted the short glass of whiskey to his lips and savored the burn in the back of his throat. It had been a long-ass day. Week. More like 2.5 fucking decades. Heavy music beat in the background of the dark bar, and the scent of stale booze and peanuts filled the air. The nuts were piled in the metal bucket in the center of the wood table, and shells littered the concrete floor. They crunched beneath his boots as he shifted back in the chair, denim pulling tight over his thighs. Shouts of laughter from the tattooed bikers at the other end of the bar drew his attention for a minute before he tuned the humans out. "Are you good, man?" Khan asked as he leaned back, watching him with intent amber eyes. The wolf wore a black tee under his green and black flannel, his tattoos showing beneath the rolled sleeves. Brown, shaggy hair looked as wild as his beast half, and 3 small black rings lifted as the male cocked his pierced brow. Gregory nodded as he absently rotated his tumbler glass on the table. "Yeah, it only took Yuri's ass getting mated for you to hang with the rest of us." Khan smirked as he said the words. The wolf was right. He and Yuri used to frequent a far different kind of bar, one that catered to fucking and sharing women. That had been his norm until his friend found Alexandra. "You could have come out with us any time," he pointed out before taking another drink, his dark t-shirt stretching tight over his tense shoulders. Khan smirked. "Yeah, I could have." What the wolf wasn't saying was that he was picky as hell. A lot of that had to do with his beast half. Perfumes and shit turned the Lycos off more than anything, which meant he'd take any female he chose somewhere private instead of fucking her in a crowded club or bar. The amber-eyed male winked playfully at the waitress as she dropped off another dark ale in front of him, making sure she leaned over far enough to give his brother guardian a good look at the big tits barely contained in the leather vest she wore. After she left, Khan murmured, "I still can't believe Yuri's made it. It's been a fucking week, but it still blows my mind. I never thought one of us would find a mate, much less a guardian bonding with a powerful demigoddess." When a normal immortal found their rare-as-hell mate, the two became more powerful, sharing abilities. Khan was bringing up what all of his brethren were likely thinking. Guardians were already the strongest of all the immortal races. They were nearly as powerful as the gods themselves, without the enhanced power of mating the daughter of a goddess and warrior-class immortal, which was exactly what Alex was. He only grunted in Khan's direction, because his brother had no idea that Yuri hadn't been the first of them to find a mate. Gregory was. 25 long-ass years ago, and he was finally days from claiming her. It was a fact that not even Drake, their dragon leader, knew. Gregory's warhorse half twitched at the thought of anyone learning about Alyssa's existence. Keeping her secret was an ingrained protective instinct he'd never once questioned. He still remembered the day he'd gone to his friend Adras's home to congratulate the male on his new young. The electric charge that had surged straight to his heart as he'd been infused with the jarring knowledge that the tiny infant would be his, was his. The small babe nearly brought all 7 feet of him to his knees. When she'd looked up at him with innocent, pale green eyes, his entire existence had shifted. All that mattered from that moment on was Alyssa's safety and security. He'd gotten reports about her over the years, but 5 fucking years ago she'd turned 20, an immortal's majority or full maturity, and he'd watched her from a distance ever since. She'd still been too damned young for a male born fully formed by the creators millennia ago. At 25, he hoped to hell he'd given her enough time because he couldn't wait much longer. Not after seeing and feeling the bond between Yuri and Alex as he'd watched over their ceremonies. Witnessing their connection had unhinged something inside Gregory. Immortals were sexual beings, needing release like they needed to feed from the world's energies, and guardians weren't exempt from that twist of fate. If anything, they required more of the energies created from a mutual fucking release.